Hello everyone, I'm Vivek Raja, AWS Machine Learning Hero and AWS User Group Madurai's organizer. So I welcome you all for today's session and really happy to have you on a Sunday morning. Hope you are all doing very well. So we'll have a quick introduction about what the user group AWS Madurai does, and then we'll go about sessions and agenda and everything. So first of all, once again, welcome you all for AWS User Group Madurai. So just a housekeeping rules for ourselves. So be aware of others who are also present in the online virtual meetup, and be welcoming and respectful. And we always welcome people to contribute and pour in your thoughts and your opinion. So feel free to actually drop your feedback, but be considerate and kind to others who are all present in today's session, and always be open to all questions and viewpoints and everything. So if you have any doubts, feel free to actually do it. And we have all the links in our comment section where you can join our user group and everything. And you can also find that in the ticker, which is running below the screen. So what will be the today's agenda? Yep. So I'll have a quick community welcome note, and we'll talk about what AWS User Group Madurai does and anything. So most of you here are new after a lot of other events and are from social handles. So I think it's a better that we have a welcome note to welcome all the new members. And also we'll have a beginner's entry to AWS Lambda function. That's a core agenda of today by Jones. And then we'll have a small quiz where you can actually win some amazing AWS credits. So first of all, what does AWS User Group Madurai does? So to let you know about what the vision and the mission of the user group is, that our vision is to establish a safe community for all the people to learn, share, network, and collaborate, and help everyone to excel in the world in the domain of cloud computing. And we are more focusing on AWS. And our mission is to actually, we aim to break the linguistic and diversity barriers. So who is coming from Madurai, from a tier 2 city where we are very much bound to linguistic attachment and affinity. So I feel that we need to actually break all these linguistic barriers to actually learn and access to knowledge and everything. So we as a community will be able to provide you the content, and not just in English, but in your preferred language, so that you can consume your language in your own preferred stuff. And I think that excels your knowledge capabilities as well. So that's a mission of our user group. And what does our user group is actually? So we can broadly say that our community is of the people, for the people, and by the people. So what does of the people mean is like you're solely responsible, and you're solely the reason actually the community exists in the first place. So we are running the community for you. And with that in mind, the community actually helps in the mutual benefit. So you can actually contribute your content, whatever you learn, you can share with the community, and community helps you to learn new stuff. So the community is of the people, and actually then the community is for the people. So we are here to help you, and we help you to gain your knowledge by through various initiatives and programs that we are launching, so that we can ease and help you to learn in your own preferred way. So the main aim is to actually help you to achieve your personal and professional and your career goals as well. So this community is by the people. So we contribute to the community, and the community contributes back to us. So you can actually contribute in a lot of ways. We'll talk about it in a little while. So we can also discuss the ways how you can contribute. And it's to your surprise, the developer communities does not just revolve around technical stuff. So you can even contribute back to community in a lot of non-technical ways. So we'll keep our conversation on that loop as well. So if you have not joined a community yet, so we have an amazing Slack community with nearly 400 members. So where we constantly talk about AWS updates, we talk about a lot of study groups, and we have some initiatives, and we have some internal competition and fun things going around in the Slack as well. So if you are not yet joined the group, you can join. You can also find the link in the comment section, or else you can just use this bit.ly/join AWS MDU, and you'll be able to hop into our amazing Slack community. So now the people who are new to here, so I would say, like, what is the main reason that you really want to join a community? So the first thing is you can network and learn. So you can learn about AWS, you can learn about cloud computing, and you can know about what is jobs which is available, We actually have a lot of startups and communities and companies collaborating with us. So they constantly post job openings and you can look into. And if you are running a company or a startup and you want to hire people, so we have the folks ready for you who are experienced and learning in AWS. So you can pick out the folks from us. And we also strongly feel that the content is the king. So coming to the content, it can be anything. So it can be a technical talk which we are doing today. It can be like blogs which you like to write, or there are a few people who like to actually talk to videos, do recorded videos. So if you are willing to do Instagram reels or TikTok or even Twitter videos, then this is the right place for you. So we give you the platform to explore and share knowledge in any content or any way you are feeling to do so. And yep, community is zero to hero. So we have members, like if you're new to community or even new to AWS, we have several folks who are similar to you. So we help people who are like very new to the AWS or cloud computing or even technical roles. From that to even we have experts in all AWS content. So like we have Neetu Malan, who's also co-organizer, who's an expert in networking. We have Jones here, and myself, who I like to talk a lot about machine learning. So we have folks who are expert in different domains and who would like to really help you out in different domains and roadmaps you really want to take into. And yeah, we strongly support regional languages. So the reason is like, why restrict ourselves just to English, or why just the knowledge or the content should be consumed just in English? So if you're willing to talk about anything AWS or knowledge in any other language, you're feel to feel so. And we also conduct bilingual sessions from time to time. So people who really want to listen to technical talks can also have that in bilingual sessions. And yeah, what is community cloud fun? So we have contests and giveaways. Like today we have AWS Quidditch, which is a technical contest where you can answer about the questions about serverless, which is absolutely based on today's session. And also we have some non-technical session where we have photo contests, we have caption contests, we have social media contests. So you can actually amazingly grab some cool AWS swags or credits and so and so, and that will help you to facilitate your learning and stuff. So keep an eye, and that's the main reason you can also join a Slack community where we have these internal fun events going from time to time. So yeah, so coming to the one big grand stage, yes, we are hosting AWS Community Day Virtual Edition 2022. So AWS User Group Madurai, along with a lot of user groups like AWS User Group Delhi and so and so, we are coming hands together to actually host the virtual edition of Community Day. So what does we do in Community Day? We have a lot of breakout sessions where experts and technical people who come to deliver the talks. We have workshops, we have fun contests, and so on. So it's a fun packed 2 days on November 11 and 12. So make sure that you registered at awscommunityday.in. So what you can do, you can actually scan this QR code and you can actually join us. So it's happening on August 11 and 12. And yes, so you can actually join us on November 11 and 12, and you can scan this QR code or hop into awscommunityday.in to join us. And if you have something really, if you're interested to speak at AWS Community Day, you're welcome to do so. Yeah, we have CFP up and alive, and it's also, you can go and register and you can submit a talk. So if you really need assistance, or if you're a first-time speaker, do reach out to me. I'll help you to draft your first proposal. And we have a lot of things. We welcome new first-time speakers as well. So do join in attend our community day. And if you're interested to talk, do reach out to me. We'll also pass you the call for proposals link as well. So also coming to the new members over here. So for the people who are already with us and who's engaging with us actively for the past couple of months, might have known the initiatives and the programs we are actually doing. But for the new members, yeah, so why you want to really join a community this is a slide you want to be looking for. So yeah, we host monthly meetups. So what does actually meetup means is like we either host it as a virtual and in person. So far we have actually had it as virtual. We'll be soon doing an in-person meetup down in September or in October. So if you're in Madurai and you want to meet us in live and listen to technical talks, that's the right place. So we do these multiple monthly meetups from time to time. And these monthly meetups are more focused toward tech talks. So if you wanted to learn some new topics, you can let us know. We can get expert speakers to talk on that particular topic. We can do a series of talks so that you can start from zero to hero. And usually the monthly meetups have in this agenda. So we have one talk from an AWS expert, like today we have Jones, and one talk from an UG member. So if you are part of our community and you want to actually deliver a talk, though if you do not have any experience, we will help you out with the resources and all the mentorship. So you can even present a 10-minute to even 40-minute talk that you want to really do. So today we don't have a UG member talking, but rather we will have an AWS quiz event. So that's a fun thing which we can also do. So the next initiative is something called Everyday AWS. So I know everyone is busy with your, if you're a college student, you're busy with your internal semesters, assignments, and so on. So if you're working professional, I know your work schedule is a little bit hectic, but how do you keep up with learning on daily basis? So that's where Everyday AWS comes into picture. So you can follow us in Twitter and Instagram and in Slack as well, where we actually post something about, on every single day, we post something about a new AWS service. So that will be a very quick glimpse of just 2 minute or 1 minute read, where you'll just know about what the service does and what are the benefits and why you need to use it. So if you follow us in Twitter and Instagram, you'll be able to catch up with daily learnings, and probably that will help you to give a great big picture of how AWS and its services works. And yeah, AWS Quidditch. So AWS Quidditch is a monthly quiz tournament. So we host it on every last Saturday of the month. So what you can actually do is you can register by scanning this QR code, and I will also drop the registration link down in the chat box. You can actually register for a quiz contest. You can find it in the comments. So what we actually do, it will be based on some other topics. So last time it was basics of AWS. We had 3 winners who won $60, $40, and $20 for winner, runner, and second runner, respectively. So you can actually use these credits to enhance your learning experience in AWS. So we have the second quiz today that will be solely based on serverless. So if you stay tuned to today's session, you will be able to answer and crack the quiz as well. So this is a monthly tournament, which means at the end of the tournament, there is a big prize waiting for the winner of the tournament. So stay tuned and keep attending all the monthly quizzes. And we also host something called certification study group. So one of the primary reason people reach out to developer meetup or developer groups is like they want assistance or some guidance to prepare for the certification they want to. And you may ask, what is a AWS certification, or what does a certification mean? So a certification, or AWS certification in particular, validates your skill and your expertise in a particular domain. It can be a cloud practitioner, it can be DevOps, it can be machine learning, it can be even solution architect. So these study groups are people who are preparing for the certification. We come together and we prepare for it. So we share the resources along with each other. We help you to give some practice tests. We evaluate your expertise. We even give you some internal tech talks where you can help you to master some very particular topics and so on. So as a community, we have a very amazing network, and we can pass on a lot of study material, courses, resources, and opportunities. And of course, we are strongly against unethical practices of certification, like sharing dumps or questions, which we strongly deny that. And we help you to give you practice exams. We evaluate your expertise in different topics of the same certification we are referring to. So we have 2 active study groups going on, which is called AWS Cloud Practitioner and AWS Solution Architect Associate. So you can join our Slack group and join these particular 2 channels, and we will help you to actually learn, prepare for your certification. So myself, who is actually preparing for Solution Architect Associate, I've been sharing my notes, and people are sharing the resources with me to prepare as well. So do join in if you want to appear for the certification exam, and this is the right place. And of course, we hear you a lot. So we know people are present in Twitter and Instagram who wants to consume knowledge or learn about AWS in a very fun way. So this is a constant feedback that we got from the community, and we cater to you. So we have comics and memes series going on. In the comics, there is a second episode which released a couple of days back. So where we'll be actually learning about AWS in a comics way. And of course, if you are, of course, everyone is a fan of memes. So I think even Jones have some amazing memes to even show you. So we even have some Tamil memes in Instagram where you can relate to it. You can have some fun learnings along with that. So, yep, we shared about a lot of initiatives that is going on within our user group. So do join our user group and a Slack community. All you have to do is go to this link bit.ly/join AWS MDU, and you get an access to amazing network of people of all expertise. So with that being said, I think that's a fair talk for 15 minutes about what our community does. So I think it's a right time to pass my baton to Jones. I welcome Jones to the stage. Hi, Jones. How are you doing? Yep, I think
Hi
you're
Vivek.
muted.
Yep. Hi Vivek. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. So me and Jones met a couple of days back at AWS Women in Tech Day, and we are back again at our virtual meetup. So we're really happy to have you here, Jones, and the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you for a wonderful introduction about the community and what all things are happening at AWS User Group Madurai, right?
Thank you.
Awesome. Uh, can you add my screen to the stage?
Yes.
Thank
Yep.
you. Awesome. So with that, we're getting started with AWS Lambda. And of course, AWS Lambda is one of the things that has been talked when you speak about serverless. So in this session, we'll be looking into a beginner's entry to AWS Lambda function, like how to get started and the different things in terms of uh, I'll get into the agenda. But before that, a little bit about myself. I'm ZACHARIAH Noel. I'm a senior developer advocate at Freshworks. I'm also an AWS Community Builder, and I do organize meetups, and I'm a co-organizer at AWS User Group Bengaluru. I'm a hobbyist, a baker, and a photographer. And I do a lot of talk and blogging about serverless. I do solutioning with serverless technologies. So today we'll be looking into compute with serverless and what are the options we have for serverless with respect to compute on the AWS platform. And we'll have an introduction to Lambda functions, and we'll look into different components, how to get started with demo, of course, from the AWS console, and also with the best practices way with infrastructure as code. So with with the whole concept of being serverless, and there's a lot of misconception that I would have to tell that people think that serverless means there's no servers. But is that true? Well, most of them think that, but it is not, because what we'll have to be doing is we'll not be managing, or we'll not be taking care of the servers that we create. Instead, we'll be leveraging them as services, and underlying code still uses servers. So when you have to do a compute, you still have a virtual machine or a container running in the background, which is doing your compute, but you just don't have visibility to those infrastructure, and you'll be using them as a service. So in AWS for serverless compute, we'll be using AWS Lambda functions, and there's Fargate. So Lambda functions is more of a function as a code. So it is more event driven. So whenever there's an event, the function gets executed, executes your code, and it goes off the execution hook. But with that serverless, you can even use containers. So with that, there's a dedicated service for Fargate, which is focused on serverless with containers. So it works with ECR and ECS. So today we'll be talking about Lambda functions alone. So when we speak about Lambda functions, I was just mentioning that it is event-driven. So how does this all work? So underlying architecture still uses containers, where Lambda function provisions a container whenever there's an event, and it executes your code at a specific runtime using a specific runtime. And you have the feasibility to get your own code, write them, and get them executed when there's events. So events could happen as API call, or things like there's an event happening on S3, like there's a put object on S3, which triggers your Lambda, or it could be from Event Bridge or SNS or SQS. So all these things trigger your Lambda function and invoke your Lambda function, where you can use them and execute them. And again, these AWS Lambda function is very cost effective if you're using it the right way. So it's pay as you go with the pricing model that's there, and you'll only be charged for how long your AWS Lambda function has been executed, and what are the resources it's using. For example, if it's using the right amount of, you'll be charged for the right amount of memory and how long the Lambda function executes. like I was mentioning, there's no servers or infrastructure that you would have to manage. So we'll get into the demo where we'll be even creating a Lambda function today, and we'll not get into how we are creating the whole underlying architecture. It's just a couple of clicks on your console, or it's if you're using some IAC practices, it's a deploy that you would be doing, which will all create your Lambda functions in the hood, under the hood, and it gets created. So when we're speaking about Lambda functions is known for its highly scalable feature, highly scalable. Uh, so when you're trying to invoke Lambda with multiple things, or in a production system where you have millions of requests coming in, Lambda functions are proven to be highly scalable. So there are concepts around it where you can create provision concurrencies, or you can even create different ways of using aliases and using weighted redirection of invocations to ensure your lambdas are highly scalable. And also you can even work with a lot of things like you can add your own if there's millions and millions of requests, you can even add your own load balancer in front of lambda functions, and it's amazing how it works with in a production event where there could be millions and trillions of events invoking your lambda, and it executes faster. But there are some challenges which we'll go into the details. There's also, whenever you're using lambda functions and the different services, the one way is to do them is why the only way to do them is with IAM roles, where you will be defining an IAM execution role, telling that, okay, this Lambda function has access to this specific service, or say if you have to do a read or write with DynamoDB, or you will be specifying the IAM role which has these policies with read and write to a DynamoDB table. So when we're working with all of these services, you don't have to worry about how secure this is, how securely it's being connected. Instead, you can use the IAM roles and authorize all of these accesses. When we're using a lot of functions, and the question of observability come into picture, where something goes wrong, how do you debug? So AWS Lambda function integrates very well with CloudWatch, with all the log groups. And what happens here is, whenever there's an event, the CloudWatch log groups get created, and it keeps logging all the things. If you want to debug, or if you want to look into, okay, what's happening with my lambda function, you can go into CloudWatch, and you can check all of the logs. There's even a way where you can use X-ray for all your observability with lambda functions. There's even a lot of tools with respect to lambda functions and how they help you with the whole observability. So lambda functions, in a nutshell, is where you can just get your code, put them on AWS Lambda function, execute them, and don't have to worry about things like managing all the infrastructure that is needed, or you don't even have to worry about how do you create the memory that it needs, or how do you work with when there's a lot of uh, uh, when there's a lot of traffic that is coming into the Lambda functions. So, when we speak about Lambda functions, there are certain use cases where Lambda functions can be very powerful. So, the traditional ways of doing it is with web and mobile backends. So, you can have your web or mobile applications using things like AWS API Gateway or AppSync for all your APIs interface, and that interacts with AWS Lambda function, and this helps in creating a wonderful backend for your web and mobile applications, IoT applications. So all of these happen over events. So it could be things like using AWS IoT, and there's an event, and it invokes your AWS Lambda function. Data analytics. So when we speak about data, there's a whole chunk of data, or there's a whole lot of data that is coming in. So when you're doing this, you could use AWS Lambda functions with certain other things like ephemeral storage, and you look at data analytic use cases. So that is one way how you can create your own applications with data analytics. There's a lot of things with respect to maintenance jobs, so where you can have a scheduled event, or you can even have things like, okay, every day at midnight I want to ensure all my EC2 instances are turned off, or something like that, where you can even use triggers and maintenance jobs kind of use case to invoke your Lambda, check things if they're running, terminate them or shut them down, things like that. So, like I was even mentioning, AWS Lambda function with S3 has a lot of has a very good integration. So when you have a lot of media files in S3, or when you have a lot of content on S3, it could even invoke a Lambda function and do the further processing. You could even use media transcripts on your media files on S3 with different services on AWS. So all of these ways you can leverage AWS Lambda function to create your own microservice architecture, and ensuring that the use case has been met with integrating with different other AWS services. So I do see that question in the chat, that about use case about reserved versus provision concurrency. I'll probably take that up in the next future slides. So yep. Coming to the different runtimes Lambda supports. So if you're a programmer who is focused on a specific language, what happens is you may have with different other runtimes, you may have to learn the different runtime first, or the programming language first, and then get started. Here, that's not the case. If you're a programmer who is using Python or Node.js, you can get started very easily. And there's also support for Java, .NET, and Ruby and Go. But Lambda is not restricted for these, where you can, if you're a PHP developer and if you want, okay, I want to ensure that my Lambda function is powered with PHP. How do you do that? You can use custom runtimes, where you can have your own container image with all the PHP executables, and use that as a custom runtime, and have your own Lambda function in PHP. So the other things with respect to Lambda is Lambda functions could be invoked or triggered by multiple sources. So this is a very, very, very easy way to get started with Lambda function, where you can even define your trigger or your destination. So say destinations are something where if something goes wrong, or if you're having an error event at some, or which is stopping the execution of your Lambda function, it can even notify via SNS topics, so that okay, this Lambda function is erroring up, I need to check that. Layers. So when we speak about Lambda function layers, what happens is often we would be using a lot of dependency packages. So say, for example, you're a Node.js developer and you're using something like Axios for all your APIs. Axios is one of the npm packages that you would have to install, and when you're installing, you would have to add all the node modules in your Lambda function and put it, which becomes a heavier Lambda. And when you're using it across 4-5 lambdas, the complete Lambda, it's the set of all the 4-5 lambdas is heavier. So what you could do is you could use layers, where all your reusable codes could be mentioned. It could be dependency packages, it could be dependency functions that you define that could go into the function layers, Lambda function layers, and you can even add this with different versions and refer your Lambda function to that specific version of the layer, which uses these dependencies and help you keep your Lambda code as minimal as possible. So ephemeral storage, recently Lambda functions announced the support for ephemeral storage, where it can support up to 10 GB, if I'm not wrong, where you could use these as a storage option when you're doing a lot of, I was just speaking about data analytic use case, where you have a lot of data that's coming in, you want to do some processing. When you're doing all of these, before the storage or the memory was limited, but now the storage has been increased, and you can use it up to 10 GB with ephemeral storage, and this creates a EBS volume in the background, and it uses that. When you're using Lambda functions, of course, inter-service communications at times might require you to use VPC. So what AWS Lambda does is it has a very good integration with VPCs that's there. So you can add them to a specific VPC, and anything in that VPC could be easily intercommunicated. When you're using RDS, or you have a relation database, and the connections for all these relation databases is a problem to manage. So when you're using all of these things, there is something called as database proxies. So you can create a database proxy on your Lambda function, tell, okay, this is the RDS, RDS instance, and these are the connections that has to be kept alive. You could use the database proxy in that place and use them. Recently, AWS Lambda functions announced function URLs. So before, if you had to invoke a Lambda function with a URL, API gateway was one of the ways. But today there is function URLs where you can define a specific URL for your Lambda functions, and using that URL, it directly invokes the Lambda function. So recently, if I saw the announcements right, there was function URLs which support even at the edge with CloudFront. So speaking about a lot of triggers and different services can invoke Lambda function. So when we talk about services, of course, there is something like S3, Cognito, EventBridge. It could be another Lambda itself. So all of these things can invoke another Lambda function. It could be in a synchronous or asynchronous way. So when we say synchronous or asynchronous, what happens is there could be a service which says, okay, I'll request for a response. And when it's requesting for a response, it invokes the Lambda. That response waits until the Lambda function responds back. So you have a use case where there's an API gateway invoking your Lambda function. It invokes the Lambda function, expects the Lambda to return a response, and that response is returned by API gateway to you. So the whole concept of request response happens with respect to Lambda function invocation. And there's also asynchronous way of invocation. So when you're invoking Lambda functions, so it could be things like DynamoDB streams, or it could be things like SNS message in the SNS topic, which has to invoke the Lambda function. So what it does is, as soon as the event happens, it invokes the Lambda function and lets the Lambda function execute, and it drops off. So it doesn't wait for your response from your Lambda function, and it helps in building a totally decoupled way of architecting your microservices. So with that being said, we did see into what is Lambda functions and the different features of Lambda functions. So let us get started from the console, where we will be creating a Lambda function. And so what we have here is I've navigated to the Lambda functions from the console, and I'm creating a new function. When we're creating a new function, there are certain things like you would have to specify a function name. So let me say UG Madurai demo. And as I was telling you, there's a lot of different runtimes that Lambda function supports. So we'll go with Node.js 16. There's different architectures as well, which Lambda function has. Well, so it could be x86 64 based architecture, or ARM64 architecture. So recently, the Graviton-based processors are powering ARM64 architecture on Lambda function, and this helps you this helps you process your Lambda function faster, making it more cost effective. So this came out about last year sometime, where Graviton processors started powering Lambda functions, and it's statistically proven that it's been more cost effective than the x86 architecture. Permissions. So I was just speaking about Lambda function, which uses IAM executable roles. So what you could do is you could use a specific role from your existing IAM roles, or you could even create one on the fly. Or you could even say, okay, I want to use a specific policy from the template that AWS provides. So in this, we'll just go with the creating a new role itself. And there's also a message that tells you that these roles have CloudWatch logs as access. So there are different things also with respect to the advanced settings that you could look into. So VPC function URLs were one that I was speaking of, and you could even use code signing with Lambda functions. We'll just keep it at the default. So when this is creating, Lambda function could be using the code itself, or it could even have a, a container which is being used under the hood, and this container can have your custom runtimes, or it could even have your high computing workloads on that. So when you create a Lambda function, so it's as simple as entering the function name, what runtime, choosing what runtime and architecture you would want to go with, and creating it. So when you create, and this is when I chose Node.js as my runtime, and you can see that Lambda functions created a snippet of code which tells me that it's returning a response telling hello from Lambda. So when you're using these, you could see that there's a file explorer also available. So you could have your multiple Node.js files, or you could even include your Node modules, but that's not the best practice. That's where I was telling you there's something called as layers. And when you want, you can even add a specific layer. So you can say, okay, there's a layer that I will want to choose from AWS that is there, or I could even create my own Lambda function layers and choose from them. So I'll be choosing Node backend. So you can even see that there are different versions of the layer. In these different versions, there is something like, okay, which are the runtimes that's been allowed, and what are the architecture the specific version allows. And when this Lambda function is getting created, I mean, when we are talking about Lambda functions, I was mentioning there are different triggers. So when these triggers come into place, there's a lot of sources that you could add. I would say almost all the serverless services, and of course other management services. But there's a whole lot of buffet of services which can invoke Lambda function. It could be IoT, CloudFront, it could be DynamoDB or S3, SQS. You could even use certain defined events from AWS Event Bridge, and these events can invoke your Lambda functions. So this was a Lambda function that I created, and we'll be adding an API gateway to this and invoke this from an API endpoint. So create a new API gateway endpoint, and when we do that, we'll say, okay, it's a REST API. And when we create, we can even use a specific method. This allows, and we'll say get. And we can choose Lambda function as an integration type. You could see the fact that I could just type the name, it filtered out, and when I click on save, it's adding the permissions for API gateway to a Lambda function. When I save this and I go back to my Lambda function, you can see that the trigger with API gateway as a source has been added for your Lambda function, and it says there's a get method that's invoking the specific Lambda function. And there's also, it underlyingly adds an IAM permission for API Gateway to invoke a Lambda function. From this, we'll just create, we just deploy the API. So demo. So you could see that with this API Gateway endpoint, this is invoking your Lambda function. And from the Lambda function code, you know that there's a specific response that's been defined, and the specific response that's been defined, which is telling hello from Lambda. Madurai. So you could see that when I just deploy it, and once this is being deployed, I could even go back to the API gateway and make a request again. And whatever the response that is there is, being returned to API gateway. So you can see that the latest code updates are instantly in sync when you're using Lambda functions. So another practice with respect to how do you do this in a production event, right? Because you're doing some change during development and something on production is going to break. So the best practices including having your environment separated. So you'll be having a different dev, different test, and the different production events, where all these Lambda functions using the best practices would be deployed using infrastructure as code, or you could even use other ways of deploying them with different frameworks. But when you're using a different version of Lambda, you could even define your own versions. So you can say that the specific version of Lambda should be invoking this specific, should be invoked by the specific API endpoint, or the specific AppSync API endpoint. So when you're doing that, we'll have to create a new version of Lambda. And so you can see that there's a new version that's been created in this Lambda function. And this Lambda function, we can even add a specific alias to the version that's there. We'll create it as and there's an option where you can even say which version of this Lambda should this alias point to. It could even be the latest. So whenever there's a change that's happening, this latest has always been updated. Or you want to lock it to a specific version, you could even select that specific version. There was things that I was telling you that you can even use these aliases as your as one of the ways to handle a lot of requests that's coming in. So when this is happening, you could use weighted aliases where you're shifting between different aliases for your Lambda function, ensuring that it still can take the huge amount of load or traffic that's coming in. So we'll just go with none and save. So when this is happening, you can create different versions. So in case if you're testing it for some experimental reasons, you could use this alias for pointing it to different versions and aliases, and this could be invoked by different API endpoints itself. Coming back to the Lambda function itself, when you're using Lambda function console, the beautiful way of using it is with beautiful way of testing it is with the test JSON or the event JSON that's available on the console. So recently, Lambda functions announced a shareable way of doing it. So if you want to define a specific Lambda function, and that AWS Lambda function is being shared with different IAM users, you could even create it as a shareable event. So whenever somebody is trying to invoke this Lambda function, they'll be having the specific event, and they could just test it with one click. Or it could even be private, where you could use these events at your own IAM as your own IAM user. Lambda function also has a beautiful way of giving you events. So I was mentioning earlier in the session that uh, I was mentioning that it's all dependent on events. So there could be different services which are invoking your Lambda function. So I had a slide where I had multiple services which invoking this Lambda function. When this is happening, each of them have their own event JSONs that's available. So when the event is coming from AppSync, or if it's coming from S3, or if it's coming from API gateway again has a proxy way of doing it and a direct invocation. All of these have different event JSONs. So when you're trying to test all of these, you can just use the template that's available. And using these templates, what happens is it mimics the whole event. And whatever data you want to add, you can just add them here and test them out. So let me create this as gateway test and save. And when I test, the beautiful way of doing it is with IAC practice, where you can even define these event JSONs in your local and use the JSON files as inputs. But with the console, what you could also do is you can define these JSONs from the console, and you can test them out on the go. So when you're testing these, you have a beautiful way of how Lambda gives you an output. So it says what the response came in, and also it shows you the log that got created on AWS CloudWatch logs. So it tells you how long the function ran and what was the memory it used and what resources it used and how long was it built. So all of these details give you insight on how your billing would look like with Lambda functions. So coming to configurations, we have different configurations with respect to Lambda function, where you can define your own memory that this Lambda function might need, and it can be up to 10 GB worth of memory. And of course, even there's additional ephemeral storage for your Lambda function, so that as well can be up to 10 GB. Lambda functions can have a specific timeout. So these timeouts can go up to 15 minutes or 900 seconds, where you define, okay, this is the Lambda function and it has to be executed within this seconds of time. You can even change your rules if you would like to, but the best practice involves having a minimum least privileged role that's there, allowing what this Lambda function needs alone. So we saw that Lambda functions can be invoked with an API gateway, but another way is to use function URLs. So these function URLs can be created from the console. So you can say what's the authentication that this function URL requires. We'll go with none. We'll allow cross-origin as well. And there's different headers that you could define in your function URL. So you could add all of these headers and the values that's associated with them. And you could check, okay, if this URL is from a get or from a post method, or if this has a specific header coming in the request, all of these things you could even validate against function URLs. I'll go with the defaults, and you can see that there's a respective JSON of the policy itself, allowing if the stating if the Lambda function's auth type and which is the Lambda function that's going to be invoked. So when you create these, this creates a unique URL, and using these URLs, you can directly invoke the Lambda function. So I was just demonstrating how API gateway could be used, and also how function URLs could be used with Lambda functions. But there's a wonderful way how API gateway manages sessions or authentication, or it could even be throttling for that matter, and different different staging deployments that's available. So if it's a API based use case, I would always suggest going with API gateway. But if there's a use case where it's a webhook, or a Lambda function is using a specific endpoint and only that endpoint is being systematically invoked or things like that, you could use function URLs, which can invoke the Lambda function directly without using API gateway. So that about the functions itself, where how you can create your Lambda function and how to write your own code. So if you go back to code, you can write your custom logic with respect to the Lambda function. And what happens is a Lambda function exposes a specific handler, and we'll be defining that the Lambda function's handler is from index.js, and this is where the entry point for the Lambda is being defined. And whenever this is happening, Lambda functions, as I was mentioning, could be a synchronous or asynchronous way of invocation. If you're using async, what happens is you could work on the event or the context of the Lambda function that's getting as an input, and process them, and it ends the execution. If it's a synchronous based invocation, there's a callback that you will have to return back to the invoker. So that about the Lambda function. Going back, so I was speaking about Lambda functions, and the first thing that everybody has in mind is cold starts. So what is a cold start? For instance, your Lambda function has not been invoked for a while. What happens is the underlying architecture has to be spinned up. So for spinning up the underlying architecture, there can't be latency, or it's very, very millisecond based latency. But in a production system, it has a lot of dependency on this. So the name of cold start came up where cars in the cold regions, the engine would be frozen, and to kickstart the engine and for the engine to warm up and start functioning, it takes some time. So similarly, Lambda functions also, once the life cycle has been over, so what happens is it goes to a cold state. And whenever Lambda function gets invoked for the underlying architecture, there's some amount of time that gets utilized for warming up the Lambda, ensuring everything underlying is being spinned up, and then your Lambda function executes. So these are some things that to keep in mind when you're working with Lambda function. So how to overcome these is with using provisioned concurrency. So what could do is you could say, okay, this Lambda as account level limit, there's 1,000 provision concurrency that's already there for your AWS account, but that's soft limit, and you could even raise the support with AWS, and they'll evaluate the use case based on which they'll be increasing it whenever this is being used. So I earlier had a question about provisioned and reserved concurrencies with Lambda functions. So when you're using these, what happens is you're telling that, okay, out of the 1,000, I'm provisioning say 100 or 200 of the concurrencies to a specific Lambda function, and it's always used in the background to ensure that your Lambda function is still available for a quick start. So whenever there's an invocation for your Lambda function, it's available for kickstart and it spins up faster. So it's not frozen to the moment. And when you're using this, it helps you overcome the issue of cold starts as well. One other thing about Lambda function is I mentioned that there's a timeout limit. So when Lambda functions are there, it can be limited up to 900 seconds or 15 minutes. So when you have long processes, Lambda functions may not be the right choice, because either you can one way to approach it is with and ensuring that your Lambda function is being separated with different other things, and that comes to another things about Lambda function keeping your code as simple as possible. So whenever Lambda function is being created, that function should be focused on doing one specific task, and as soon as the task has been done, it should come out of execution. So when are architecting with Lambda functions as such minimalistic codes, you are even ensuring that your Lambda function executes at a shortest amount of time. The weight of the Lambda, the code weight of the Lambda is lighter, ensuring that your billing also would be lesser when compared with having a huge amount of code on your Lambda function or multiple things. That's where I was mentioning you could even have your reusable codes as Lambda function layers and use them instead of the function itself. Concurrency is one where when you have multiple requests coming into Lambda function, when you have multiple requests coming into Lambda function, how this executes is it creates a concurrent execution of all these events and gets executed at the same amount of time. When defining Lambda function, it's often that there could be something that could go wrong, right? In these cases, what happens is Lambda function has a feature to retry with the same event. So I was showing you how the event is being defined, and Lambda function uses the same event to invoke the Lambda function again. When you have these retries enabled, and when there's an error, it could go into a loop where it's erroring always, and you're also having a huger bill because there are errors and the function keeps executing in a loop, which is making you which is having a more AWS bill on your Lambda functions. The another important thing to keep in mind is ensuring least privilege, because there could be a lot of things that could be needed for your Lambda function, but keeping what is required only and the permission for what is required only will make your functions more secure. And when you're executing things like, okay, you have a custom or a on-the-go or dynamic codes that's running in your Lambda function, anything that's used to inject. So people who are familiar with SQL injections, similarly, you could even do code injections. So when you have your Lambda function allowing multiple things, which is not required, this permission allows everything. And with that code injection, you could be performing something that the Lambda is not intended to perform. And it results in a lot of security concerns. So keeping your permissions for your Lambda as minimal, as least privileges is the most important thing. And going with the best practices, I was mentioning when you have different environments that you have for your applications, you would be using infrastructure as code. So what is infrastructure as code? So infrastructure as code is defining all your infrastructure as a specific template, and this defines what all should be deployed and what are the different configurations it holds. And it even takes care of, it is very helpful in terms of when you're using reusable environments, or you're making sure that you're duplicating your environments, all of these use cases. IAC helps you, and in terms of this, there are different providers. So AWS has CloudFormation, which is native to AWS, and there are different frameworks like SAM, CLI, CDK, and Amplify, which is creating all of the functions as IAC itself, and it has a specific template or a specific code that defines these infrastructures. It could be Lambda functions, it could be DynamoDB, it could be other infrastructures as well, and the needed IAM roles. All of these things are being defined in this IAC template. This is being deployed using AWS CloudFormation or Terraform. It could be other providers, where all of these deploy to a specific region in a specific account with the needed things defined on your template. So let us get into the IAC demo. So I have here a SAM template where I'm defining certain things with respect to a Lambda function. So here you can see that there's a specific Lambda function. In this, I'm specifying what is my runtime, what are the architecture that I would want to use, what are the different configurations in terms of the timeout or memory size, and I could even define the policies this Lambda function needs. So I'm using managed policy as dynamic CRUD operation, which is allowing me to do read, write, and update, delete of a specific Lambda function, of a specific record in a specific DynamoDB. And also we could use environment variables. So you have certain things like you have certain names of your DynamoDB table, which could change in different environments. So you could have your naming conventions as dev lambda function one, or it could be prod lambda function one, right? So all of these things could be dynamic and for a specific environment itself, right? So we could use environment variables in that context to define what are the names that it has in that environment, and these will be used as a name, and uh, it will be using that for all the reference. So let me go to the code of this. So you could see that I'm using the table name from the environment variable. And also I'm checking for different things from the event, telling if it's get method only, and things like that. And also I'm using the table name from the environment, doing a DynamoDB scan and returning items. So all of these things can help you with environment variables where you have different infrastructure names, or you could even use AWS secrets for storing all of your uh, configurations or your secrets and retrieving them and using them in a Lambda function. With respect to events, again, I was mentioning that on certain clicks of a button, Lambda function created a specific event from API gateway, and this could also be done with IAC. When you're using that, we'll have the API type of event and what is the path and what is the method that has to be used. All of these things allowed. So we could even define certain parameters in the path as well. Uh, so when we want to deploy these, what happens is Lambda function will use the code that's residing in your handlers. So SAM template makes it very, very easy for developers to use defining all their function logic and then adding them to your templates with a specific handler, and that imports and it builds and deploys to your Lambda function. All of this is powered with CloudFormation under the hood. So whenever you're working with Lambda function, what happens is uh, whenever you're deploying with SAM template, what happens is it builds first, and then it leverages the build file. It deploys to a S3 bucket all the artifacts that's built, and then from the artifacts, everything has been deployed using CloudFront. So with that, probably come to the end of the session with respect to getting started with Lambda functions. Vivek, you're on mute.
Yep, amazing session, Jones, and yep, it was for me. It was again a refreshing topic to again come again and visit it. And we have a lot of beginners who are actually asking a couple of questions. So I think this is the right time for us to take questions from our end as well. So
Yes.
I think you had answered a couple of questions in your talk, but anyway, we'll just revisit for the sake. So, yep, Sridhar, our AWS user group Madurai member and a community builder. So, yep, he asked a question on, could you please provide some examples or use cases for when to use reserved versus provision concurrency in Lambda?
Okay. So I was mentioning during when I was speaking about cold start as well, right? So you could define a provision or reserve concurrency in Lambda, and these are used to ensure that your Lambda is kept warm. So when I say
Mhm.
kept warm, it is meaning that under the hood it's still available for an easier invocation and get started fast. But the concept of reserved and provision concurrency comes into place where it's again one of the things where a lot of them think, should I go with reserved or should I go with provisioned? But I can share some links which probably I have with respect to when to use what. But it's hard to tell in terms of until you understand what use case you're trying to solve.
Cool. Yep, I think that answers Sridhar's question, I guess. And moving on with, yep, there were a lot of beginners who were asking, like, is it um as a beginner in AWS, is it a right choice for us to start with AWS Lambda, or do you suggest on which services that should I opt for? And obviously today the core topic of the interest is AWS Lambda. I could rephrase the question as like how easy for us will us for a beginner to be to get started with Lambda.
Okay, so if you're a beginner who has some understanding with how servers work, probably I'd say Lambda functions is a place to begin with, because you're coming with an understanding how your infrastructure is working, right? Or how your server is working. So you can focus on your code, and like I was just demonstrating, it's couple of provisioning of certain configuration and then deploying them, creating them. So as a beginner, a background of how the servers work is really required. If you have that, you're well to go with Lambda functions.
Great, awesome. So if you have more questions, keep dropping that in the comment, and Jones will be here around to answer that and pick it up offline as well. And if you are not part of our community yet, so please do join it. Where this is our Slack community where we talk about all AWS related stuff. We have a lot of networking going on around there. So if you're joining a little bit late, then we have a lot of initiatives like study groups, study jams, certification groups, and also like the fun way of learning, like the one which we are going to do right now, which is AWS Quidditch, which is a quiz tournament. And yep, there is one more question. I guess we can take it up right now. So, do we need to learn coding to actually go into this? And I'm from a DBA background. I'm not sure what a DBA means, but I guess Jones, you can answer that.
Okay, so DBA, I'm assuming it's database administrative role. So if you're coming from that background, you know how your code is interacting with databases primarily, right? You're not focusing on code, but you're focusing on how your code is interacting with database and how you're managing database. With that knowledge, you can get started with some basic things with how to read and write to a specific database. It could be DynamoDB, it could be RDS, or it could be even a specific database on your EC2. But when you're using that, you will be going with this CRUD operation basis of your starting with, right? So when you're using those kind of CRUD operations, probably it is a starting point to begin with. Yep, I
Great,
do see
awesome.
it's a database administration.
Yes, I think that answers question from Farzana. So I think I'm sitting in a motion detected room. So if I'm sitting very quiet and stable and without movement, it goes off. So yeah. So I hope that answered your answer this one. So right now, I think it's the right time to move on to our next event, which is our AWS Quidditch quiz event. And you have more questions, keep dropping that in the comment, and Jones will be able to happy to take that offline as well. So thank you for having here, Jones, and it was a wonderful session. I hope you stay around till the end and we can catch up before concluding as well.
Thank you, Vivek.
Great.
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you.
And one more question before you opt out as well. I think we can take it at the end if necessary, if that is okay. Or Jones, if we can come back again, we can quickly answer one question and move on to the quiz. Yep.
Sure.
So Akilan is here. So he's with a question here. Is there any way to select a correct configuration for Lambda functions like memory, time limit? Or is it like more like a thumb rule where it's more like a trial and error method? I go around and check my memories. Should I increase it or decrease it? Then go ahead with time limit and so on. So is there any way to estimate that? So I think that's Akilan's question.
Okay. So I got started with Lambda functions about 4 years ago, and my approach was trial and error. So when you're using Lambda function, you need to understand how long your Lambda function is going to be executed, and for how long you need to understand what are the memory it needs. So if you say, for example, it's doing a bubble sort, your Lambda function. Just for example, your Lambda function is doing a bubble sort, and you understand, okay, bubble sort might require this amount of memory. You can allocate it and the time that it requires. So I'll stick to the point of telling focus on increasing your memory rather than increasing your time, because most of the times Lambda function needs a more memory to compute instead of more time for it to compute. So if there's a more memory, it probably executes faster, and it should be within the time limit frame.
Got it. I think that answers your question. So people out here, I think it's the right time for us to hop into the quiz. And thank you, Jones, for taking the questions as well. So off we go to the next topic of interest, which is our AWS Quidditch quiz 2, which will be primarily based on our today's topic of discussion, serverless. And then if you are paying attention to today's topic, I guess it will be a very tight competition with the people who are around here. So what you have to do is you have to either scan this QR code or check out the link which I posted just now in the comments. So once that is there, you'll be hopping to the quiz portal where you have to sign up. So I'll just give a minute for you to sign up and get ready. So if that has already not been done. So with that being said, please do scan in. I'll keep this QR code in the screen for the whole thing. Then yes, just give me a moment. Yes. So if you are actually active in the quiz, you might be actually seeing. So might turn off my camera for a few moments if that is okay, because I'm still checking out. So right. So right now there is quiz 2, which you might be seeing on the screen, which shows that it is live, and you have to click a button called play quiz. So once that is play quiz is clicked, you will be actually receiving, there are around 83 people who are actually watching it. So either you can listen to the, you can just concentrate on the questions which is appearing on your mobile phone or your tab, whichever you are actually appearing a quiz for, or you can concentrate on the live stream. So whichever feels comfortable to you. So I need to actually give a disclaimer that my live stream might be 6 seconds delayed from the one which is actually been showing. So it's better that you just concentrate on your screens or your mobile phone to answer the questions. I can just keep my voice as your guidance as of now. So you might see a 0 out of 10 question. The first question will be coming soon. So whenever you are ready, we'll be hopping that. So I think 83 people are already in the space to actually attend it. So I think, should we go for it? If you are ready, please drop in the comments that you are ready to attend the quiz. Yes or no? A quick yes or no. Right, I think it's right time for us to hop in. So you will start seeing your first question on the screen. So in a moment, just give me a second. Yes, you might be starting to see a question on the screen. So name the serverless computing service provided by Amazon Web Services, which is our current mode of contact or your primary discussion topic today. So I guess it's easy. So get your timings fast. So the whole purpose of this quiz is like you have to get your questions right and at the fastest time as well. So that will give you the push in your leaderboard. So a couple of seconds more. Yep. I think the first question is over. So yep. So let's see the leaderboard. So what's happening over there? So almost 88% of the people have got it right, and few people skip. I hope so you are in the quiz. So if not, keep playing. So yep. So right now Makendran is topping the quiz with 9 seconds. So followed by Prakash and Akilan. So Akilan is our quiz veteran who also won last time's quiz. So I hope he's trying to stay on the quiz leaderboard for the tournament as well. So next you will be actually seeing your next question on the screen in a couple of seconds. Yep. So next question is coming up soon. So keep concentrating on your screens. So I think this is a fairly easy and a good question. So does serverless mean that there is no servers involved? I think this has been discussed in today's topic, and this is a primary a question which is being asked by every single beginner who wants to step into serverless. So I think you have to get it right this time. All right, so time's up, and I guess we can hop into the stats. How many people have got it right? So refreshing the leaderboard, yes. So 24% have told told that serverless means no servers. No, it's not that. So servers are involved in the infrastructure, but it's not visible to you directly. So 65 people have 65% of the people have got it right. So thumbs up, very good. So let's hop on to the next this as well. So next question as we go. So Akilan is now topping the leaderboard with 2 points and 18 seconds, followed by Makendran and Abhinandas. So good luck. Keep it going, and let's go for the third question. So you might be seeing that in a couple of seconds in your screen. So the question is, each Lambda function run in its own dash. So does it run in its own container, or does it run in its own server, node, or a VM? So I think this has been also mentioned in today's talk, and it's primarily the way how the Lambda actually runs. So how does a Lambda run? So does it run on its own container, server, node, or VM? So time's up. Let's see who got it right this time. So let me show the stats. And okay, so 29% of the people have told that the Lambda function is running on its own container. So well and good. So now who's actually topping the leaderboard? So it's Anish Kumar with 3 points, all the 3 questions right, followed by Vaibhav Gupta and followed by Akilan. Akilan got somehow got 1 question wrong. So it's totally fine. We have 7 more questions left. I think it's a good place to catch up. So followed by the next question we have here is, so the followed by the next question is, I think you might be seeing that in your screen. So AWS Lambda can deliver great benefits over traditional cloud computing setups for application where individual tasks run for a short time or each task is generally contained. There is a large difference between the lowest and highest level in the workload of the application, or all the above. I think it should be fairly easy for you to get it right. And just a fun fact, so if you're answering all the questions, you will be actually receiving participation certification at the end of the quiz along with the winners. So please do answer and get it right. So let's see the stats. So 94%, very good. So only 1% got it wrong, but I guess almost every single person have got it right. So 89% of people have got it right, and it's all the above. Yep, it has all the benefits of both that. So now let's see the leaderboard. So who is actually topping the leaderboard with us right now? So I think Akilan is topping the leaderboard, followed by Anish Kumar and Farsana Rahman. So welcome back to the top 3 here. So the next question we have right now is on your screen in a few seconds. You might be seeing that right now. So yeah, when a Lambda is started in a response to OEM, there might be a small amount of latency between the event and the function runs. I guess we spoke a little bit on these topic. I think we primarily discussed this topic. So what is called? Is it a cold start time? Is it a hot start time? Is it a cooling period, or is it a warm up period? What do you say? So I think it's a fairly easy. Get it right as soon as possible. Great. So few seconds more left. And who got it right this time? Let's see. So 53%, so nearly half of the people have got it right this time. So it's actually, what's the right answer? It's cold start time is the right answer. So here we go. So who's topping the leaderboard right now? So it's Akilan again with 5 points, Makendran with 4. Sridhar has gone into the top 3 with 4 points and 52 seconds. I guess Anish, Farzana, Abhinandas, and so many people are just behind. I hope you get the next questions right with a shortest amount of period. So, yes. So, we got it right. So, the next question on your screen right now. So, keep it tuned. So, a Lambda function will time out after running for how many minutes? Is it 5, 10, 15, or 20? I hope just few seconds left. I guess it should be fairly easy. And there were a couple of questions which are coming in the comments during the session about the timeout as well. So almost everyone have got it right this time. So Fairly good, fairly good. It's Akilan again topping on the leaderboard again. Very well done, Akilan. So just a couple of questions more. It's a tight competition between Akilan, Sridhar, Makendran, and right from the second spot till the sixth spot, there are five people who have tied down on the 5 points. So it's just matter of how many seconds you're taking to actually do it. So make it quick. Sridhar is stopping with 5 points and 61 seconds, well, which means he has the fastest finger right now. So, just give me a second. Before we start the next question, I just need to plug in my charger, or else I lose my connection. So, sorry for that. So, just give me a moment. I'll be back. Uh, okay, I'm back again. So, thanks for staying tuned. All right. So, back again to the quiz. Here we go for the next question. So the seventh question will be on your screen in a few seconds. So stay tuned. Is Lambda open source? Pretty easy question. Make it quick. Is it true or false? Is the whole AWS Lambda as all the things, is it open source or is it publicly available as a public repository, code repository, something? Have you ever seen a Lambda open source repository? Have you worked on it? Is that so? So drop your answer right now in your quiz, just for a couple of seconds to go, and it's done. So the right answer is, of course, it's false, because Lambda is a proprietary service provided by AWS. So all the infrastructure like all the platform as a service and the serverless concept which we discussed. So you can actually use it as a pay-as-you-go or however you want to use it, but it's not open source. So Akilan again topping the quiz back. So let's see who has been Makendran back to the second spot. Anish has climbed to the third spot. So let's move on to the next question. So eighth question on your screen right now. Can Lambda function call another Lambda function? Is it possible? Is it true or false? Quick, is it? I think it's fairly an easy question, right? So is it true or false? Can a Lambda function can actually call another Lambda function? Is that possible? All right, so everyone have got it right. So congratulations. Yep, a Lambda function can call another Lambda function. That's true. Good here. So everyone got it right. Moving on to the second last question of today's quiz. We have, yes, the most discussed topic from the public, from the audience in today's as well, and we have spent a considerable amount of time on doing that. So what mechanism is provided to overcome cold start time latency issue? Is it provision concurrency mechanism? Is it preheated mechanism, or provision functions mechanism, or server scale-up mechanism? So make it quick. I guess we have people giving our right answers in the fastest time to make it right. So time's up. So how many people have got it right this time? Wow, it's nearly 50%. So it's a 50-50. So 50% have got it right, and so it's preheated. It's not a preheated. It's provision concurrency mechanism. So preheated, provision functions mechanism, server scale-ups are wrong answers. Provision concurrency mechanism is a mechanism that is provided to overcome your cold start issue. Great. So last question. So Akilan right now topping at the first place with 8 points and 81 seconds, followed by Anish, who's also tying up with him, but with 108 seconds. I guess the fastest who can get it right will be the winner. And Abhinandas and Magendran, Aravind, Sridhar, Gautam, Manureed, Farzan Khan, Governagiri, Vaibhav. So I think there are a lot of people tied in seventh spot with the 0.7. Sorry. So here we go for the last question. on your screen. How many Lambda function requests are free per month with free tier? Is it 10K requests? It's 100K, 1 million, or 10 million? Get it quick. I guess this is the last chance for you to climb to the top 3 spots of your leaderboard. You have a couple of seconds left. So is it 10K requests per month with free tier, 100K, 1 million, or 10 million? Time's up, and we are now done. So it's 1 million requests. So let's end the quiz. So let's see who actually have. I'm ending up the quiz right now. I guess we have reached the end. Let's see who all have got it right. So yep, let me just quickly share my screen if that's okay. So yep, so winner of today's quiz is Akilan again with he's a winner of last time's quiz and he's also the winner of today's quiz as well. So Akilan with 8 correct answers and Anish actually has tied up with the same number of answers, but of course he took a lot of time. So Anish with 108 seconds and Anibadas, I think he's the fastest, but he got 7 questions right. Makendran followed by like top 3 prizes people. You will be actually receiving your prices only in Slack. So what you have to do is you have to join the Slack community if you haven't still done. And I'll reach out to you to your personal DMs with your winner credits. So congrats once again, Akilan, Anish, and Anivda. So I think AAA have won the first 3 places. So also congratulations to all other people who have attempted, and we have a lot of people who tied in the position of 7 till the top 10. So it's a very good, I think it's a very, very tight and healthy competition which went in. So congratulations, stay tuned. If you're not, if you have missed, it's totally fine. You have a lot of other quests to catch up as well. So let's go to the tournament. If I can find the leaderboard, just give me a second. Yep. So overall, with the 2 quizzes combined, the overall tournament leaderboard will topped by Akilan with 18 questions right and 255 seconds, and followed by Makendran who have got 15 questions, and third place is Gautam. So well done for the top 3 in the overall tournament. So we have other quizzes coming up in next month, last Saturday, 7 p.m. Stay tuned. You'll have more information dropping that in your this as well, Slack. So. Yep, great. So here we go. So for people who have actually asked about what's concurrent or provision concurrency, so here's in the chat, so you might take a look at it. So I'll also go back to my presentation. So, and yeah, you can only claim your prices or everything. So join our community. We have amazing stuff going around there. And those who want to read about provision concurrency, it's in the chat as well. So kudos to the winners. And once again, I want to take this moment to actually congratulate the community builders who have got selected in this cohort from our AWS user group Madurai. So I think Sridhar is one of the active members out there who's constantly tweeting and learning stuff, and he's also was part of our quiz. So Sridhar has now is in the AWS Community Builder program for the topic of cloud operations. Anusha, who's been a very new member to AWS, she just started learning along with us during the Cloud Practitioner Bootcamp, and now she has entered into a Community Builder and as a networking and under the networking and CDN topic. And Naina Malik, who is also part of a volunteer group in our AWS user group Madurai, he is now a serverless community builder. So along with Jones then. So welcome all and congratulations to our new cohort of members who have joined in. And we are very much proud to have you along with your guys, and hope our community has given you platform to contribute and showcase more. And for the people who are not aware of what is an AWS Community Builder program is, it's one of the coveted and a very highly recognized program where people who wants to communicate or who wants to contribute about a particular domain of interest, for example, like serverless, cloud operations, and so, they can contribute in so many ways, like technical talks, blogs, and along with the user group. So the best way to start contributing is to tag along with the user group. So once you actually expertise and as an expert in that particular topic, or if you're a newbie and you are very much interested in actually sharing your knowledge, then you are much more eligible to become an AWS community builder. So this community builder program applications open twice in a year, and this cohort just got announced. So the next cohort will be available in next 6 months. So stay. And if you have also noticed, there are a lot of other people who try to actually get in the program. And for the people, Sridhar, Anusha, and Naina Malik, who have got received personal guidance on how to actually fill up a application form as well. So, which means as a community, we always encourage and we want you to become one of the community builders in future. So once again, congratulations. And also, I like to take a moment to congratulate Neetu Manan, who's a co-organizer of AWS User Group. She spoke about fundamentals of data encryption in a grand stage a few days back at AWS Women in Tech Day 2022 on Friday. So, and it was a very good, amazing moment to meet all the community members in person. I was also present there. So, I guess from our community, she had also made to the grand stage. So, congratulations. I'm very much proud as a fellow co-organizer. And this, of course, this photo is from Jones. So, I think I need to definitely give Jones a thing here. And we also met Jones. To the in the community AWS Women in Tech Day, and we had an amazing time discussing and meeting all the folks. So I think Jones is also present, so I can hop in for a last quick thank you note. Yes. Hi, welcome back.
Hey, Vivek.
So hi, and I guess it was a wonderful moment to again meet you there, and myself and Jones are in Bangalore, so we get to meet each other through AWS meetups and so on. So it was a good moment to meet other community builders out there. So I guess you also enjoyed the day over there.
Absolutely, yeah. So again, congrats. Sorry. So again, congrats to the winners and the new cohort of AWS community builders who got recently got in, and anybody who's trying. Of course, like Vivek mentioned, a lot of ways where you could participate more in the community, expand more with contributions to the community, and probably reach out to community leaders like Vivek is one, and others, Neetu Madan and others as well, where we can help you groom, and probably we can see you on the other side.
Awesome. Great. Yes. And take a moment to actually be part of our AWS Community Day Virtual Edition 2022. So a lot of user groups are coming together to host this one virtually. So you can actually attend it from your comfort of your homes. So all you got to do is hop into this awscommunityday.in and register for free. So you get a plethora of a good lineup of speakers who will be talking on different technical topics. And then we'll also have workshops, fun events, and quiz. So it's one of the amazing time for us to get together as a community and talk about technical stuff and with the AWS. So I'll definitely be there, and you also, I expect you also will be there as well. So take a moment to drop in to our community event. I'll also drop the registration link in the chat once again. Yes. So, and if you want to actually speak in this AWS Community Day, you're very much welcome. So even if you're a first time speaker, you are always welcome to register and participate. So, and as a to submit or your, if you want to showcase your interest in speaking in this community day, all you have to do is go to this link. You'll have something called a CFP. Once you go over there, you can submit the topic of interest you want to speak and fill out all the details. And if you're new and you want assistance to actually fill out those details, please reach out to me in Slack. I'll help you out to prepare a proposal to submit to the topic. So I'm very much happy to I'm expecting all you to be part of our AWS Community Day Virtual Edition, and very much will be thrilled if you're part of a speaker panel as well. So once again, going back, so do register this one. And if you are not following us in any social media handles, do follow it at AWS UG MDO. So we are in all social medias, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So whichever you're comfortable in, keep tuned. Of course, our Slack is our main community to talk with. So hop into our Slack if possible. And thank you for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. And I guess for the beginners out there, so I guess it's the first moment for you to experience Lambda and serverless, and hope you that will give you a good start with AWS. And it's a weekend, and when you have some time over the week, so just go and try it out and let us know if you are facing any troubles. We'll also help you out as well. So thank you, Jones, for actually taking a time on Sunday morning to be with us and deliver an amazing talk on serverless and a beginner's entry into AWS Lambda. Very much happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, everybody. See
Have
you
a good
soon.
rest of the weekend and Sunday. Take rest and have a good day.